So I'll be starting in a minute from now. I'll start at 11:11 a.m. Okay. So hello everyone and thank you for joining. I'm really happy to have you on board with me in this webinar. So the topic of this webinar is Python for data science. Before I start with the explanation, let me just share the agenda of this webinar with you guys. First of all, I will introduce you all to Python. Then I have some interesting facts about Python to share with you guys. Then we will see who is Python for, or in simple words, I'm trying to say that who can learn Python. Then I will show you some of the companies that use Python on their daily basis in their daily services and products and all. After this, I will tell you what makes Python so great. Then I will share the names of some of the Python communities and organizations that you can join for practicing Python and also to contribute in the Python open source community. And finally, we will start learning the basics of Python. Now, since this is a series, I will explain different topics in each webinar because Python is a very vast programming language and I cannot cover everything in one single webinar or one single tutorial. It will take a lot of meetings and a lot of tutorials to complete the whole Python modules and all. So I need your support and cooperation to make this webinar series successful. So please support me by liking the video and you can even share the video with your friends who wish to learn Python. So let's get started with introduction to Python. We all know that Python is a programming language, but Python can also be called as a powerhouse language. Now, what do I mean by powerhouse language? By powerhouse, I'm trying to say that Python has the power of doing anything and everything. It can act as a backend. You can do basic math operations on it like addition, subtraction, and from basic math operation, you can even take your level to the scientific computations of mathematics. For example, you can calculate modulus and you can even calculate trajectories. You can make programs to calculate trajectory path of various rockets and all. And you can also develop games, web applications, mobile applications, desktop applications. You can make artificial intelligence models and whatnot. Your imagination is your limit. Now, in the field of machine learning and artificial intelligence, data science, and also somewhat web development, Python has been and is the most popular programming language. Now, here is some information from the developer's perspective. In C and C++, our code is compiled before it is even executed. But in Python, the code is executed line by line. That is, it is an interpreted language. Python is a high level programming language, and this means that Python code is easily readable and understandable by humans. Python is very similar to English. So if you are a beginner, then Python is a very good option for you. Now let us see some interesting facts about Python. There is an there is a community which is named as Kaggle. Now what this Kaggle does is Kaggle is a platform and it is also a community for developers in Python. They specifically who all are in machine learning and data science field. So they are given a platform to develop various machine learning models, do some analytics on various data, and they are rewarded by prizes. Now, this platform, Kaggle, did some research, and according to the 2019 Kaggle Data Science and Machine Learning Survey, 75% of data scientists from around the world reported that they use Python on regular basis. Now, 80% of data science, machine learning, and web development jobs have Python as a required skill in their job description. Python is also the first choice of programming language for most of the data scientists, web developers, software developers, etc. Now, web developers have an option of learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but that is too outdated in today's era. So, in this world, there is a new framework called as Django in Python. So web developers are moving from HTML, CSS, JavaScript to Django. Django also uses HTML, CSS, but has more of it has it gives us more control over the backend. So Python is again the first choice of programming language for most of the web developers too. Now this fact is amazing. Python has the most active and the largest community on earth. Well, now you guys are well aware of how essential it is to learn Python. Now I will tell you who is Python made for, or in simple words, who can learn Python. Now Python is for people who already know how to program. That is, people who have sound knowledge of programming and are willing to add another programming language in their skill set. But wait, Python is also a very good option for people who do not know how to code. As compared to other programming languages, Python is the easiest option that a beginner can choose to start with. Now, if anyone is willing to make a career in the field of data science, machine learning, Internet of Things, then they must learn Python for sure. Okay, now let us see some of the organizations that use Python to build their products and services. Now I will show some of the organizations that use Python in almost daily services. For example, let's say we have IBM, we have Google, we have Amazon, Instagram, Spotify, Wikipedia, and many more companies. Well, this is just a short list of companies that use Python. Now, can you guys guess what makes Python so great? If you guys have any ideas in your mind, then you can put it up in the live chat section. After this webinar, I will see what your ideas are, and now I will share my perspective of what makes Python so great. So, first of all, Python is a general purpose language. That is, it can be used in any domain. It can be used for developing software applications, it can be used for developing mobile applications, data science, machine learning, robotics, artificial intelligence, and many more fields. Now, Python offers a large standard library to its developers. These libraries make the life easier by providing reusable functions and classes. It has libraries for scientific computations too. For example, it has libraries like pandas, numpy, scipy, and matplotlib. You guys not will not be familiar with these names because you guys have just started to learn Python programming. And we will see all of these libraries as we go on in my future tutorials. So it also has libraries for artificial intelligence like PyTorch, TensorFlow, Keras, and scikit-learn. Now, Python can also be used for natural language processing. Natural language processing is a very interesting domain, I can say. So, natural language processing uses the NLTK of Python. What is NLTK? NLTK stands for Natural Language Toolkit. Now, natural language processing is an is a domain wherein the computer tries to understand and interpret the human language. The computer tries to understand and interpret the human language, and then it executes appropriate actions based on these commands. A very good example is your Google Assistant, and in for iPhone users, they have Siri. We have other type of applications too. For example, we have Alexa and Cortana. These assistants use natural language processing in their technologies, and they have other they have various other technologies too. But Natural language processing is the main backend of these technologies. Now, I will share the name of some of the top communities of Python that you can join or you might be interested to join in. Actually, there are a lot of communities that you can join, but these are the most interesting and active communities. So, the first one is Pi Ladies. As the name suggests, this community is mainly for women. It is an international mentorship program with a focus of helping more women becoming active participants and leaders in the Python open source community. They help, they mentor they mentor women and they help them to start learning Python and they promote them in the open source community and they push them to contribute in the open source community of Python. Next, we have PySlackers. PySlackers is again a group of Python developers and it is a group on Slack. So its name is PySlackers. Then we have Planet Python and Pythonware Daily. Well, these are not the only communities that you can join. There are a lot of other communities too. You can just search for Python communities on the web. So now that you're familiar with what Python can do, who is Python for, what makes Python so great, and various communities that you can join, you're ready to learn basics of Python. So let's get started now. Every programming language has a data type. Similarly, in Python also, we have data types. But these data types are simply called as types. Now, if you were a programmer or if you know any other programming language other than Python, then these sentences which I said just now, you would have understood it easily. But now, if you are a beginner and if you don't know any if you don't have any idea about programming languages, then I will tell what are types in Python in a easier way. So, what is a type? A type is how Python represents different types of data. Now, a data is anything which has a valuable information. For example, a number can be a data. Your age can be your data. So, age is always an integer because it does not have a decimal. You cannot say that I am 12.5 years old. You will always say that I am either 18 years old, I am 12 years old. So, it is an integer because it does not have decimal. Then these type of data are represented with types in Python. So we have many different types in Python. The most common types are integer. Integer is denoted by the word int. Then we have float. Float is denoted by the word float with small f and all the letters are in small. Then we have the word string. Now, and string is denoted by the word str, and then we have boolean, which is denoted by the word bool. Don't worry, we will go in depth in each of these types. But for a basic understanding, remember that integer is the type assigned to any number which does not have decimal. As I had said earlier, you cannot tell anyone that I am 12.5 years old. So the age is an integer value. Now the opposite applies to float. Any number which has a point or which has a decimal is of the type float. For example, a place we can say that a the place A is 7.5 kilometers away from the place B. So this value 7.5 is of the type float because it has a decimal, that is it has a point in it. Now, what is a string? A string is a sequence of characters. Any character enclosed within double quotes or single quotes is known as a string. So here is an example for you guys. In this example, the value is written on the left side and its type is mentioned on the right side. The number 24 doesn't have a decimal, so it is of type int. And the number 24.26 has a decimal, and therefore it is of the type float. Since the word Python basics is enclosed in double quotes, so it is of the type string. These were very simple examples, but in case you have difficulty in determining the type of variable, I said in case you have any difficulty in determining the type of variable, if you are not sure of what type the variable is, then Python has got you covered for this too. We can see the actual data type in Python using the type command. We will take the same values in the previous example to see the application of this function. So we can see that this function requires an input as a parameter. And this input is the type, not the type, and this input is the variable whose type we wish to determine. After we call the type function, we pass in the parameter. The function returns us the type of the variable which was passed. So, in simple words, if you want to determine the type of this number 24, you will write the word type, and then in the bracket you will type the number 24, and then when you pass in the number 24, this function will return the value as int, and then when we pass in the value of 24.26, it will give us the value as float, and then when we pass in the same string value, it will return us the type as str, which is string. Okay, so you guys can note this function down because it is a very important function, and this function helps in most of the cases when we don't know the type of the variable which we are working with. So now we are ready to dive deeper into each of these common types. But before that, I have a question for you guys. And the question is here. So the question is, what is the type of following number? And the number is 0. The options are A float, B int, C string. So you will have 5 seconds to answer, and you need to type the answer in the live chat section, and your time starts now. So the answer is B int. Congrats to who all answered it correctly. And those who didn't get the correct answer, don't worry, because I have also set up a quiz for you guys, which I will be sharing with you later on. So stay tuned. And one more thing, in that quiz, who all answers the best will have rewards from me. So stay tuned for that. For that. Um, okay. So now let us study about the common types in Python. The first type that we will be seeing is integers. Now, what is an integer? Integer is a number which is not a fraction. So, integers can be positive or negative. There is a finite range of integers, but it is very large. So, we don't have to worry about the range of integers because we are not doing any scientific computation or we are not going to do any rocket science because our range will be very small which we are going to work with because we are just starting with Python. So, don't worry about the range of integers, and this this is an example which you guys can take. So any number which is negative or positive and it does not have a decimal is an integer. So here I have chosen a range of numbers from -4 to +4. So these numbers are all integers. Now let us take look at the next type in Python, which is floats. What are floats? Floats are real numbers. Now what are real numbers? Real numbers are the numbers which include both rational and irrational numbers. Well, this might also be a bit confusing for you, so I will put it up in very simple terms. They include numbers between two consecutive integers. For example, let us take the numbers 0 and 1. And for example, we have many numbers between 0 and 1. Let us say we have 0.125, we have 0.25, we have zero point 0.5, and so on. These numbers have a decimal and are real numbers. So their type is float. Similarly, you can think of numbers lying between zero point 0.5 and 0.625. There might be numbers like 0.51, 0.555, 0.595. So all these numbers are again of the type float. Again, I have a quiz for you guys. So you guys know what to do. You have to write the answer to the question in the comment section. It is alright if you don't know the answer, but you can at least give it a try. So I'm bringing up the question in front of you, and this is the question. So the question is, what is the type of following number? The number is 0.8828. The options are A float, B int, C string. And your time starts now. The correct answer is option A float. Why? Because there is a decimal and so the number is of the type float. You can also use the function type to verify your results. Now we will see the next type, which is string. Here I will simply give you an overview of strings. Later on in the next webinar, I have a section which is dedicated for string. Okay, so don't worry if you don't if you don't get a lot of information from this section. So in layman's term, what is a string? A string is a sequence of characters which makes some sense. Similarly, in Python, strings are again a sequence of characters. Python denotes a string by the keywords str. All are in small and the keyword is str. Now, similar to other programming languages, in Python also, we have strings and we enclose the strings in quotes. It can be either double quotes or it can be single quotes. These are very simple examples that show how strings are written. Now, as you all know that the type command returns the type of variable, we can pass a string in the type function to check its type. So let me take the value of star, okay? Here you can see that I have enclosed the word star and the word ball in double quotes. That's why I'm saying that it is a string, okay? So now I'm trying to check the type of the word star. So I'll type star and I'll enclose it with double quotes and within a parenthesis and outside the parenthesis, I'll use the function type. Whenever I execute whenever I execute this code, the type function will return me with the type of this variable. So this type is string. Okay, so we know what is a string, we know what is a float, we also know what are integers. Now there is another type in Python which is called as boolean. Typically, what does boolean mean? In algebraic sense, in algebraic notation, boolean is used to represent logical statement. Now, many of you might not be knowing what is a logical statement. So logical statement is either true or false. So if we say the logic is true, that means we are good to go. If we say that the logic is false, then we cannot proceed ahead and we have to take some other route. So in algebra, Boolean values are denoted by binary digits. So we have two binary digits, that is 0 and 1. In Python also, Boolean does the same task. It represents two values, either true or float. Oh, sorry, either true or false. It is an important type in Python. In Python, bool, bool. We can use the type method to check the type of Boolean values also. So note that while passing boolean values, we do not write the boolean values within quotes because it is not a string. It is a boolean value. It has a dedicated usage in Python. So all we can also call it as a keyword. Any word which is already built in Python, it is known as a keyword in Python, or any programming language, it is also called as a keyword. So here the word true and false are keywords. So when we pass in the keyword true in the type method, it will return us with the value of bool. Now we can also use the numbers to denote the boolean values. So the numbers are 0 and 1. The value 0 denotes false and the value 1 denotes true. Um, you can take a good example. So you can consider true and false as on and off. In many of the toys which we had in our childhood, they had 0 and 1 values in their on and off button. So when we switched it on, the value used to be 1. And when we switched it off, the value used to be 0. The similar goes with Python. So now we have finished the types in Python. We will have a 10 minutes break and then I will start with the rest of topics. So you guys can take a break and freshen up in 10 minutes and then come back with fresh minds. So I'll see you in 10 minutes from now. Hello, am I audible? Hello. Okay, so I've got one question from Lavanya Joshi. It is that for determining the type of function of, sorry, for determining the type function of a string, do we have to use inverted commas inside the function like type, double quotes, then sample dash text double quotes? Okay, yeah, we have, if we have string, then we need to pass in similar in the same way, like how we write a string, we have to pass the whole string it in the type function. But now if you have stored the value of string in some variable, let's say you have written your name Lavanya and you have stored it in a variable named as name only. So name equals Lavanya in double quotes. So when you want to check the type of this name variable, then you will pass in only the word name. You will not write the double quote. You will not type double quotes and you will not have to write double quotes and then name within that. You will simply write type and then name in the bracket. So I hope I have answered your question. Okay, so we have another question. I actually didn't see that. Okay, so the question is how many lectures to complete learning Python? Um, if it is a programming language and you're willing to learn the programming language in depth, then I don't think there is a limit to any limit of learning it from courses or you. There is no limit to number of courses because it is your choice, and unless until you can learn until you are interested in that programming language. So I can say that there are a lot of open source tutorials. So you can also learn Python basics within 8 hours. There are a lot of courses and tutorials on YouTube out there. So you can also learn in 8 hours and within one lectures. But and there are some tutorials which are of around 800 videos. So there are there is no limit to learning Python and any programming language, but the optimal answer will be that go slow and go steadily. I guess the 10 minutes are over. No, there is more 2 minutes left. There are more 2 minutes left, so I'll start in 2 minutes. Yeah, welcome. So, guys, now we will be starting with the lab session also after the explanation. So, have you installed all the requirements which I had told you to do? Um, if not, then I will wait for some time after the explanation is finished. Then I will share a link with you so you can install it. Or okay, so you have installed it. Fine. Mm, Advait Sawant has subscribed. Thank you for subscribing, Advait. Okay, so I'll start now. Now, commission engine. Hello and welcome back. I will wait for another 2 to 3 minutes for everyone to join and then I will start the session. Is my audio clear? So we can start now. Okay, there was another question from Prathamesh Patil. So that was on which platform will we learn Python? So we will be using Jupyter Notebook to learn Python. And regarding the installation links, I'm sharing it now for those who have missed it. I'll just share it in the chat section so you can install it using these links. The link which I have shared just now is for Windows users, and next one is for Mac OS. I would suggest you to do it after the explanation is over so that you understand the concepts thoroughly, and then I will wait for some time for you to install. Okay, so let us start now. Now we will see what is typecasting. What is typecasting? Um, in simple words, the process of changing from one type to another is known as typecasting. So, if you have a type known as a string and you're trying to convert it from string to integer, so you can do that. But there are some constraints. I will talk about these constraints later on. You can just simply know that the process of changing from the type of an object from object or an expression from one type to another is known as typecasting. Now I have made a table to show how you can convert from one type to another. But before showing the table, I will just tell you, I will enlighten you by how you can imagine to typecast from one type to another. Suppose you have a type called you have a data type of integer and the number is 2609. Okay, so this number you wish to convert it into string. So the goal is to convert from integer to string. So the target type is string and the initial type is integer. We will use the target type, which is string, and write the word string, and then within the parenthesis we will add a parenthesis, and within these parentheses we will simply write the number. So this is a basic idea of how we can convert from one type to another. Now I'm showing the table so that you can see how we can convert from different types to various other different types. So we can convert from integer to float. So how we will do it, we will simply write the word float and then we will pass in the integer within the bracket, and the function will return us with the value of float. Now I told that we can convert an integer to string. So it this line of code, which is str bracket 2 and then bracket close, will do the same thing, and it will convert an integer to the type string. Then we can convert float to integers. But there is a lossy conversion in this. By lossy conversion, I mean to say that we lose some of the data when we convert from float to integers. So you can see that when I typed integer and then when I passed the float value, the function returned me with the value of 2. Now where did the 0.668 go? It is not counted by the Python interpreter and it is deleted from the data. So we have to be very careful when converting a float to an integer. Now we can convert a float to string by using the string method, and we can also convert an integer to string from string to integer. Sorry, we can convert a string to integer by using the integer method, and we pass in the string. You can see that I have used double quotes, and then within these double quotes I have passed in the string number. So the number is 2. What this function will do, it will return me with the integer value of this string. Similar goes for float. We can convert a string to float by using the float method. Now, there are some restrictions when converting from string to integers and floats. In strings, we have a lot of different types of characters other than numbers. We have alphabets, we have special expressions, we have special characters. So all these characters cannot be converted into integers. For example, in other programming languages, if you try to convert a character into a number, it will give you, it will return the ASCII value, character value of that character. For example, if you convert capital A to integer, so I guess it will return the value of 65 or 64. I don't remember it exactly, but it will be an integer. But in Python, you cannot do this with this method. So we can only convert a number, which is a string, to an integer or a float. So as I've typed over here int, and then I've passed the character A, if I try to execute it, the Python will give me an error. So this section was dedicated for typecasting, and now you know that what is typecasting. Now here is again a quick quiz for everyone. And the question is, what is the result of the following number? And the number is 26.092000. The options are 26, B 26.0, C 26.092. You know what to do. You have to type the answer in the comment section, and not the comment section, in the live chat section, and your time starts now. I can already see some answers popping up before the timing began. That's good, and it shows that you are clear with the topic now. So the correct answer is A, and the option A is 26. To convert the values to Boolean type, you need to use Boolean function. Now, what we talked about was converting from integer to string, from float to string, string to float, integer to float, and so on. So we also have the type Boolean. Why I did not take it into this same slide, because it has a special feature. It is a bit different from the normal data types. So now we will see how to convert Boolean values from integer to how to convert values from integers to Boolean, and Boolean to float and string and so on. So now in this slide, I have highlighted the Boolean conversions with yellow color. So you can convert Boolean type values using the bool function. So you can see that if we convert a value from Boolean to integer, so we need to pass the value of the Boolean. So here I have passed in true. When we pass in true in the integer method, it returns me with the value of 1. That means it is true. Now if we try to convert it into float, so it will give me the same output but with an additional decimal and a 0. So the output will be 1.0. Now if we try to convert integer into bool, I'm sorry, if we try to convert integer into boolean, then the function will return us with either true or false. So if we pass boolean, that means if we try to write bool and then we pass 0 or 1, so the output will be false or true. If we pass 0, then the output will be false and the output for 1 will be true. So this was the this was the overview of Boolean typecasting also. Now you can have a look and you can see how we convert from one form to another. And then we will also do this in the lab session. So now I have the actual quiz which we all were waiting for, and this quiz can be attempted by everyone. I will be sharing the link of this quiz in the live chat section. So this quiz is very easy, and I know all of you will be able to do it, but you can just take it as a revision of this webinar so that even you and I both know that we have understood what all concepts I have taught. So you guys have 10 minutes, and the first 5 students who score the highest have rewards from me. I will also share the results of the quiz after 10 minutes. So, to be eligible for the reward, you must comment done in the live chat section once you submit your form or the quiz. So, the quiz is on the Google form, and I will collect all the results from there. And obviously, you must be among the top 5 scorers to be eligible for the reward. So, let me just share the link of this quiz with you guys, and then you can attempt it. So I've seen another question which was from uh, Advait Sawan. Okay, so he's asking, is idle fine? Oh, so idle is the basic one which comes with Python, and most of you guys can use it. But I will suggest that you use the Jupyter Notebook, because Jupyter Notebook has some additional features and functionalities which will help us to like enhance the level of lab sessions. So if you have idle also, it's fine, but I would suggest you to use a Jupyter Notebook. If you have this Visual Studio Code also, it's fine, but I mean, unless and until you know how to use that IDE, it is fine by me, because I won't be having time to explain all those things. I'm just getting the link of the quiz. Yes, welcome, Advait. Okay, so I'm sharing the link of the quiz right now on the live chat section, so you can access the quiz. I will monitor the results and I will get back to you with the results. Don't forget to comment done in the comment section once you submit the answers, otherwise, you won't be eligible to get the reward. And once you all submit the quiz, then I will also show you what the reward is. Is the link to the quiz not working? Let me see. Kuldeep, the quiz is working for me, the quiz link. You can try to log into your Google account and then check it out if it is not visible to you. There are multiple choice question. I mean, it is very tricky. Uh, Whatever you feel is correct option, you go with it. So if the link is not visible for you guys, then I will share the link once again. I will share the actual link. What I have shared is the short link. Is my audio clear with you guys? Because I think my connection is dropped. Am I audible? So I have received one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight responses till now. One, two, three. Some students have passed and some have not. So you can still try for getting the reward. Okay, thank you for the response. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Do you guys want me to allow the 2nd attempt? Mm. Okay, is there anyone left to attempt the quiz? So otherwise, I can go. I mean, I can proceed. Mm. Okay, so the screen is visible, right? So I actually forgot to change the condition of passing and failing. So anyone who has scored more than 70 or more than 70% is eligible for the reward. So now there are lot of people who have scored. So congrats to the two people who have scored 100. They are Advait Sawant and Sagarika Sahu. So I have been receiving a lot of questions from Advait Sawant, and congrats Advait. Then we have Akansha Bhagat who scored 80. It's fine, good. Then we have Taranjeet Singh and Prathamesh, Anshul, Lavanya, Kuldeep. Okay, and Pranav also. So these people have scored till 70%. So congratulations who have scored 70, 80, 100. And even if you didn't pass this test, don't worry, because this live this live session will be available for you guys on YouTube, so you can even go to the parts where you missed out and you can check it once again. And I've also supported the wrong answers with the reasons that why they have they why they are wrong, and what is the reason they are what is the reason for the correct answer. So, and there was one more thing that I made it tricky by adding the multiple choice questions by because there was no multiple choice for any question in my quiz. All were single correct answers, and I guess I added only one question. I don't remember, but most of the questions were not multiple choice, so all were single correct answers. And Ayushi, Doshi, Pankhuri, and Ranjita. Ranjita is my mom. So uh, all these three people, it's fine because you at least attempted the quiz, and that is more than enough for me. So all those who scored 70 and above are eligible for the rewards. I will change this thing, and I will make sure that you also get the certificates in your mail. So these three people might have got their certificates, Advait Sawant Sagarika and Akansha Bhagat. So you can also try it once again, and I will change the conditions and I will update you guys. So now we will start with the actual lab session. So wait, but before starting, what the share with you guys what the prize is. So guys, I am Campus Ninja of Coding Ninjas. Now, what is Coding Ninjas? Coding Ninjas is a platform where students learn how to code. Students get a platform to learn programming languages, competitive programming, and various other type of skills like interview preparation and all. So there, I'm doing an internship at Coding Ninjas. Now, because I'm a campus ninja, I have a special discount for you guys, which I'll be sharing, and you can get a discount of up to. Actually, we can give a discount of 1,200 only. But uh, for those who pass the quiz, starting from 70%, they will get an additional discount from my side of up to 2,200 rupees. So I'm giving 1,000 rupees of discount from my side, and I will share the I will share the links and all with you guys once the quiz is over. Sorry, once the webinar is over. So let me just share the code. Let me just show you how the Coding Ninjas website looks like. So this is the website of Coding Ninjas. It is loading now. My internet is a bit slow. Don't worry about that. Hello. Yeah. So now we have various courses over here at our platform, and then we also have events, and we conduct a lot of events at Coding Ninjas. So these events are basically competition, coding competitions, and we have placement competitions, internship competitions on our platform. We also conduct webinars, but those webinars are not conducted by students. They are conducted by professionals who have been selected in Amazon and all. So we have events like these also coming up in our website. Now there is a section of practice section, and there you can practice coding. So it is the platform which we use is CodeZen, and it is created by Coding Ninjas. Now in this platform in CodeZen, you can host competitions, and you can even solve problems. You have various sections to improvise your skill, and you can even test your skills. You can practice your courses, and there are a lot of competitions going on in this platform, so you can check it out. I can share the link to this website in the chat section afterwards. So this is the CodeZen platform where we can practice our coding skills, and then we have the courses. Now you can see that we have a lot of courses actually on our platform. This internet is not happy with me today, so it is not loading the page. So we have courses. Before it loads, I'll just give you an overview. Before it loads, yeah. So we have courses like machine learning, data science, web development, and Python, Java, C++, and all. So these courses are basically starting from they first of all clear your foundations, and then they help you to learn uh, various techniques of data structures, and we have career tracks and all. But I will suggest you, if you wish to take a course from Coding Ninjas, go with the basics. Before taking the basics, free trial, and then see if you like it, and then you can go on with the course. So I'm really sorry because this is not loading right now. Otherwise, I would have shown you the whole course structure and all. So basically, we have courses, and then once you finish a course, you can apply for becoming a teaching assistant, where the stipend will be around 15 to 20,000 for each student, for a teaching assistant. And then we also have a dedicated placement cell at our platform. So once you finish a course, you will be eligible to apply for various internship opportunities and placement offers also. So companies like Amazon and all, they hire from this site. But and before starting, I would like to ask, have you guys like, do you guys want some time to install Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook, or Anaconda or something like that? So I will wait for a few minutes, and then we will start with it. If you guys want me to wait, then I will wait for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then I will proceed. Or you can also like follow along, or you can just see what I'm doing, and then when you are able to code along, you can just replay the video, and then you can play it. Guys, just start your Jupyter Notebook. I will also start my Jupyter Notebook, and then I will share the screen with you so that you can follow along with me.